Okay, so welcome everyone, and so just okay, I'll just pin myself. Yeah, okay. Welcome everyone to today's online Bhagavad Gita session, and we will try and explore some more aspects of about Bhagavad Gita today with the help of one PPT, and we'll do a little recap. Then we'll get into today's topic of discussion. I'll just keep everyone on mute so that we don't have much disturbance. So we'll do little activity. That time we'll request everyone to unmute themselves and share their thoughts, ideas, and that time you can have a lot of opportunity to interact with each other. But otherwise, I'll just keep everyone on mute. Okay, and with this, we'll start today's session. Yeah. So topic for today is again very interesting. All topics which we pick up from Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavad Gita provide us are all very interesting, all very nectarian. All can be discussed by different ways and means from different angles, different sides, and it can keep giving us different meanings. So all wonderful to discuss it in association of devotees. So I'll try and share whatever whatever possible on this particular topic, and then we'll discuss and we'll hear from everyone also in between in the process. So the topic for today we have picked up is different types of worshippers of God. So we are talking about the types of worshippers. So those who are worshiping God, what are the different types, who are these different people, what are their different conceptions, how has been their progression, and what with what understanding they worship. Different aspects of this particular topic we will try to understand. Before that, we'll do a little recap of what we have been discussing in Bhagavad Gita, because it's been a while. Last 2 Sundays we didn't spoke about Bhagavad Gita. We had Makar Sankranti, and Narottam Prabhu kindly agreed to give one beautiful class on Bhishma Dev's disappearance, or giving up body by Bhishma Dev, the passing away of Bhishma Dev, that pastime. And that pastime was so sweet, so much nectarian, so many learnings were there that we consumed one more session, or we devoted one more session to learn more about that pastime, to churn that same pastime more, and derive more learnings out of it. And that's what we did last Sunday, which was where we went through the same pastime, but from different angles. We tried analyzing it and try picking up some threads of learning for our benefits. And hopefully all of you would have gone through the PPT which I shared. If not, please please ask for that PPT from me. I will share my mobile number. Please WhatsApp me. Ask for that PPT and the recording link to that session if you can, and go through it, because a lot of this information which we speak is also we try and capture it in the PPT, because the online medium is not that great. We are all sitting at comforts of our home, but distractions of our home as well, surrounded by distractions of our home as well. So in the temple, we have dedicated focus on learning, but at home, that can get at times compromised by our environment and by different priorities which may come up. So whatever we speak, generally we try and put it into the PPT, and those try and make those PPTs as informative as possible. And we normally share those along with the uh, recording link. We now save it on YouTube, so that people can catch up on in their free time on what the concepts that were spoken about. And if they have any questions, they can obviously reach out to me or anybody from our group, and we can try and help clarify wherever possible. So we'll do a little recap of what we have been discussing on Bhagavad Gita. And so we were discussing some verses from chapter 9. Now we try and keep every session as independent. so that even if someone has not attended previous sessions, while going through today's session, you'll probably not miss out on much. You'll not find anything missing, any continuity missing, and in that sense, you can always catch up on whatever we have, whatever you have, whenever you have missed any sessions. So we have been discussing about some few verses from chapter 9, starting with the king of knowledge and king of all secrets, Raja Vidya, Raja Guhyam, Pavitram, Idam Uttamam, Pratyaksha Avagamam, Pratyaksha Avagamam Dharmyam, Susukham Kartam Avyayam. So the chapter 9 opens by Krishna giving these, speaking these beautiful verses. And so we'll briefly talk about these. We've discussed these in detail earlier. So the king of all knowledge, Raja Vidya and Raja Guhyam. It's a secret of all secrets. Why it's a secret? Because by knowing this knowledge, getting this knowledge, you will be able to control Krishna. You will become very dear to Krishna by following what Krishna has given in this chapters of Bhagavad Gita, which are the middle 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, which is the nectar of all nectar. The whole Bhagavad Gita is nectarian, but the special nectar is condensed between the first 6 chapter and the last 6 chapter. And these 6 chapters in between, from 7 to 12, speaks exclusively about bhakti. So many of these verses, beautiful verses, which speaks entirely, which are dedicated for bhakti yoga or glorify bhakti yoga. And so these, by following this bhakti yoga, we can attain Krishna. Krishna is forced to accept us as his devotees, and he loves to accept us. He wants us to follow these instructions so that we become dear to Krishna. We are anyway dear to Krishna, but we become more dear to Krishna. He can reciprocate with us more. He can to give us better preferential treatment, and he wants us to take one step so that he can take 10 steps towards us. That's a reciprocation theory that Krishna wants to follow. And hence, this is where Krishna is saying that this is very secret, because if you happen to learn this, if you happen to know this, and if you happen to follow these instructions, then I will be, then you will become dear to me. And so you will have a direct access to Krishna. You will have direct, you will attain Krishna at the end of your life. And that is a secret. That is secret because that's not revealed. That's not very easily available in the world. This information is not easily understood by the world, not easily available in the world, because the world is actually not looking out for this kind of information. Hence, this is a secret. Hence, this is a king of all knowledge. So this has to be understood by direct experience, and for that we have sadhana bhakti, the devotional service, Prabhupada, as he has translated it. The devotion, we have to manifest that devotion. We have to give evidence of that devotion, shraddha, by engaging ourselves in hearing and chanting. Chanting is a direct engagement in taking Krishna's name repeatedly for 108 times for 16 rounds. If that is, that what one should all aspire to do, and preferably in the morning hours by joining our Zoom application where all devotees come together and chant together. This is a Kali Rupe Nama Rupa Krishna Avatara. So in the Kali Yuga, Krishna and his name are not different. So when you take Krishna's name with faith, with devotion, you are actually associating with Krishna. When you do that in the morning hours, it gives best results. It cleanses our heart. It cleans our heart, and it gives us Krishna prem. It can, when we chant offenselessly, without any offense, when we chant, we can experience Krishna's hand in our life, in our mercy, Krishna's mercy in our life. And that way we can come closer to Krishna very rapidly. We can make progress in developing affection and love for Krishna very rapidly. The sadhana bhakti has another angle to hearing, about hearing. So hearing is what we are right now doing. We are hearing from scriptures. We are hearing Shastra. Hearing is what we do every evening when we read from Bhagavatam for half an hour. We read about those devotees, beautiful devotees, wonderful devotees who have practiced Krishna consciousness principles that we are learning in Bhagavad Gita. And so these are live case studies. We like case studies, we like principles to be learned, taught in the classrooms, and case studies is what we all like to discuss, so that we can find out how those principles, which seems difficult at times, were actually applied by some people in their lives, and what benefits that were accrued to them, what how they were benefited. So these Bhagavatam provide these case studies in ample, and we read through those. So this hearing and chanting keep our faith steady, makes our faith steady, give us direct experience of Krishna consciousness, joy in Krishna consciousness. So it's like taking a medicine for a deceased person. When he takes some medicine and he starts seeing symptoms of recovery, symptoms of cure, then his faith in those medicine increases, and then he takes the same medicine with more joy, more conviction, more faith. And that's what happens when we get direct experience of happiness in Krishna consciousness by engaging ourselves in hearing and chanting activities in association of devotees. We experience spiritual joy, and with that joy, uh, we then perform these same activities day after day, month after month, year after year, more joyfully, with great happiness. We look forward to chanting, we look forward to hearing from devotees, we look forward to meet devotees, we look forward to visit temples, we look forward to go to Vrindavan, we look forward to go to Dham like Mayapur, Jagannath Puri. When we will go, when we will go, we will ask questions, when we will take, when Prabhuji, when you will organize for yatra next. And we will take time out of our busy schedules to do these activities, because these are critical, these are important, these are most beneficial activities, and these are joyfully performed. So this is what this is life in Krishna consciousness. But this all starts with faith. If those who don't have faith, they cannot progress in devotion, they cannot even start their devotional spiritual journey towards Krishna. So they remain in this world, get caught up in this world. And so Krishna clearly mentions in the third verse in the ninth chapter that those who cannot attain him, those who don't attain him, will remain in the mrityu sansara vartmani mam. That those who do not attain him will remain. But inversely, it is true that those who attain him can only go out of cycle of birth and death. And that's how that's the secret. That's again, this is repeated information. This was also mentioned in the eighth chapter of 15th verse, where Krishna says that Mam upetya tu kaunteya punarjanmano vidyate. And the same instruction was repeated here, that once you attain Krishna, you cannot take birth, you will not get birth again. But if you don't attain Krishna in this lifetime, you will get birth again in this world. So, after saying this, Krishna's subsequent verses, Krishna explains his superior nature, his mystic opulence, Pashyame Yogam Aishwaryam. That how Krishna, how everything that we can see, perceive in this world, uh, we, our society, our city, our country, our world, our this planetary system, this solar system, and this entire universe is situated in Krishna. And but Krishna is not situated in them. Krishna is not burdened by these responsibilities of having created this world, and he's managing this world. So Krishna is different from them. Krishna is free from all this. So so these are some of these verses, in the subsequent chapter, the same chapter, subsequent verses, starting from 9.5. Krishna explains his relationship with material world, that how he is Nachamasthani Bhutani Pashyame Yogam Aishwaryam. This is all this world, entire creation that we see, we perceive, is nothing but his Yogam Aishwaryam, is part of his energy, and that he has created it, and he will manifest it, he will maintain it, sustain it for some time, and after some time he will annihilate it, he will pralaya, there will be pralaya, there will be annihilation, there will be destruction, and then he will recreate again at his own sweet will. Why he's doing it? So that all the souls who are who have developed this desire to enjoy independently from Krishna can get an opportunity to fulfill their desires. So Krishna has given free will to all jivas, all souls, and using or misusing this free will, jivas wish to enjoy in Krishna's property without Krishna, or Krishna's world without Krishna. And when they develop this desire to enjoy independently, not in a service attitude of Krishna, independently of Krishna, they can no longer stay back in the spiritual world. And for them, they need an arena, they need some space where they can try and experiment with this concept of enjoying independently of than Krishna. And for that, they are sent in this material world. And all of us are products of those desires, which act like a seed and then grow into a creeper. And then it just keep growing and just doesn't seems to have any end. And so this world provide us with some space or arena or area where we can execute act on our desires. And for enabling us to act on this desire, Krishna has provided us with all the necessary facilities by way of which using which we can sustain and sustain and spend some time on this place and try and experiment to enjoy independently of Krishna. But this enjoyment, while in an attempt to enjoy, we also get a lot of miseries. And so Krishna says that he's udasina vadasina. He's udasin. Udasin means when we actually succeed in enjoying a little bit or get some happiness by enjoyment, Krishna says he is like a judge. He neither he delights when you jivas enjoy, neither he delight when jivas suffer. So the happiness and distress that souls are jivas are experiencing in this world, Krishna says, I'm udasin to all that. I have given the creator this system, but I'm not concerned. I sanction everybody's happiness, everybody's suffering and disease or distress, but I am not involved in this activity. I sanction it, but I'm not responsible for it. And so how does that work? We spoke last Sunday. There was a question, and we spoke with help of an example that a king in the country has created law and order. He has written laws. He has passed some laws using which a court is established, and using which and the citizens of this country are expected to know the law and follow the law. Now, for example, there is a law of not jumping signal. Now, this law says that you should not jump signal. And this law is created by the king, and assume that king to be the prime minister of India. Then, but the citizen deliberately break the law and jumps the signal, and he get caught by the policeman. Now the court is maintained by a king, police is maintained by king. This police then present this citizen in court, and then court sanction him to go to jail for some time or fine him with some money. Now when a citizen instead of going home has to go to jail, there is suffering on his part, and he's also, if he has to pay some fine, even that can cause suffering to him. So the pain and the suffering that is experienced by citizen is now the king is independent of that. King is not involved in it, though he is ultimately responsible for it. The citizen has broken the law, choose to break law, and therefore he is now suffering. Therefore he is now subjected to fine or some punishment, and the punishment and on immediate basis is not sanctioned by king has created a system and given that responsibility to the court. Now the court is writing that sentence that you should go to jail, spend 1 month in jail, and because of that order the citizen is now forced to go to jail. His world has changed. Instead, he was planning to go, must be planning to go for some party or some picnic, or planning to go home. Instead of that, now he has to go to jail and spend there 1 hour, 1 month, as ordered by the court, or pay some monetary fine. It could be, that he never planned for that kind of an expense. So king, though he's ultimately responsible for it, he is not directly responsible for it. The actions which are performed by the citizens, or the soul jivas, are responsible for the consequences. So the consequences are allotted to him under his supervision, and that work is done by Maya Devi, the Mahamaya, or the Maya, who operate through three modes of material nature, is responsible to give us our verdicts, our fruits of whatever actions that we do. So, at one level, at the ultimate level, Krishna is responsible, but at the immediate level, a person's own bad karma is responsible for the sufferings, or the distress that one experiences in this world. Also, the one's by own good karma, one may get some enjoyments, one some opulence also in this world, and both these things are sanctioned. Krishna says, "I am udasin," and he says 9.10 that this entire process is working under his supervision and is carried out by Maya Devi, and Maya Dhyakshena Prakriti Suyate Sacharachara. So that's how Krishna concludes that this is his supreme position. So he's not ordinary. He might be sitting at the chariot of Arjuna with reins of horses in his hand, may look ordinary. Just there are so many chariots that time in the battlefield of Mahabharata, Kurukshetra battlefield. So many chariots were there, and there were so many chariot drivers. But this one chariot and this chariot driver was special. He did not had this as his duty. He is doing it out of love for his devotee. He's doing it in his mood of being a Bhakta Vatsala. Bhakta Vatsala is a well-wisher, as a in his because of his love for his pure devotee, he has taken up, accepted this service, menial service, even though he didn't had to. Others were chariot drivers because that was their profession, that was their occupation. So Krishna is doing out of his love, and that same Krishna who with whose order the sun rises, with whose order the sun sets, with whose orders the wind blow, and the whole manifestation operate, that Krishna is working as a chariot driver of Arjuna because of his love for his devotee. So that's his supreme position. uh, how is this understood by the world? Is it easy? It's not easy to understand this position of Krishna to the people of this world in general. Why? Because everyone looks at Krishna, everyone in Kurukshetra battlefield looked at Krishna differently. Now they didn't understood his greatness or his godliness as it was understood by some, like Bhishma, like Arjuna, like Pandavas. They knew Krishna's supreme position, and therefore even in their dealings with Krishna, they were mindful of that the fact that they are dealing with Supreme Personality of Godhead. So they could, Draupadi could throw all both her hands and remember Krishna with full devotion, and then Krishna immediately manifested cloth and saved her from the getting disgraced. And so every now and then they were surrendered to Krishna, and they knew Krishna's position, but not everybody. Duryodhana, in spite of having met Krishna so many times, couldn't understand Krishna because they we all see the world through our own glasses. And if we are wearing tinted glasses, black glasses, red glasses, blue glasses, that is how we see the world around us. So we see this world around us as through the goggles or the glasses of our desires and our own aspirations, our own desires, and that's how we see this world as an enabler or a interrupter in our enjoyments. And that's how we see the world. So we don't have better vision of this world. So not everyone can understand Krishna as he is in his fullest capacity, and because of these reasons. So there are people who can understand Krishna. Not that everyone cannot. By one's Krishna's own, by one's desire, by one's devotee's mercy, and by Krishna's mercy, one can understand Krishna. Uh, but those people, those population is very, very few. These people count. These people are very few in number. The Janati, so they are classified as Janati, those who know. What do they achieve? They achieve Krishna, because Krishna, that's what Krishna has said, that in the 4.9, Krishna says that Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti so arjunaha. So just by knowing in tattva, my birth and my activities, you will not take birth again. 9.3 verse, he again repeat this instruction, that once you attain me, those who can attain me can't doesn't have to take birth again, and those who does not attain me will have to take birth again. As simple as that. Janati, ajanati are the ones who are ignorant, and those who have no idea about God. They have never had time to think about God. We'll talk about a little bit about these people more in our subsequent slides. So these people also are large in number. They just don't know who is God and what role God has to play in this world. So these are ignorant. These are ignorant people. So the Western world was ignorant of Krishna. In hippies were ignorant about the concept of God in many ways. They just didn't knew much about God. So when they were presented with systematic philosophy, they accepted Krishna as God, and then they all become pure devotees. Avajanati, the third type, are the one who understand God incorrectly or inversely, the opposite to what he is actually. Avajanati. Now these people are the most unfortunate ones. These people think Krishna as human being, maybe some having some few more additional magical tricks, but nothing more than just a human being just like them. Now for them, their spiritual path is difficult. Why? Because they have to first unlearn the wrong and then relearn the right. So their journey towards Krishna is prolonged. Is a very, very long journey, and these are most unfortunate people. They deride Krishna. Prabhupada writes in the purport that they deride Krishna, but thinking him to be an ordinary man. Duryodhana tried arresting Krishna when he came there as a Shanti Doot. He couldn't understand Krishna. There is what's so great about Krishna? He chose Narayani Sena over Narayan, and then he went back to Kuru palace, and then told very proudly uh, that his Arjuna was foolish. He asked for Narayana without who will not even hold any weapon. He will not even fight with anyone. एंड निहत्थे नारायण को उन्होंने चूज किया है एंड मुझे ये इतनी बड़ी नारायणी सेना मिली है. व्हाट अ फुलिश how foolish Arjuna was. And then Bhishma told him that what is the use of Narayani Sena without Narayan? You don't understand. And that's, you've been fooled. And he's got what he deserved and what he always wanted. So no point in now becoming overly happy about getting a Sena of Narayan without Narayan. So that's the mood. That's the avajanati. And then so Duryodhana could never understand what's the use of Krishna. So for him, Krishna has a use for what he can give me. And most of us also look at God like this, what you can do for me, not what I can do for you. And then you may come to terms that, okay, if you don't want to do anything for me for free, I will do something for you as well. मैं एक नारियल दे दूंगा, रोज अगरबत्ती लगाऊंगा, बट आप भी मुझे मेरे तरफ देखना और फटाफट ये सब मुझे चाहिए, वो सब करना मेरे लिए. Now this could be the understanding that many of us might have had, and so this avajanati is thinking that Krishna is ordinary person, just taken birth a few years back, maybe at the same time that he was born, and thereby having offensive mentality towards Krishna, actually committing offenses towards Krishna. So this is a dangerous situation to be in, and their path towards Krishna is long and very hard. So these verses, in the verse 11 and 12, these these type of devotees were explained. And Krishna says that all their efforts, even these people need not be bad people. They might be doing some social work in the non marga of karma, or there could be karma yoga. They must be trying to perform bhakti dhyana yoga. They must be trying to perform jnana yoga, and could be sannyasis, mayavadi sannyasis, and whatever different path that they may be following, and they may be doing social work. And but however, all their efforts, all their endeavors are lost because of this wrong conception, and they can't become eligible to get Krishna's mercy, Krishna prem. And therefore, they're returned to return to Godhead, return back to Godhead. The journey becomes very long and very tough, very difficult. As Krishna has contrasted these type of people by pure devotees. So if you think of one extreme spectrum, and there's a negative axis and a positive axis, and these extremes, on the negative side, this 11 and 12 was devotees are there, or the sadhakas are there. And 13 and 14, where Krishna says Mahatma, he defines Mahatma, and he says those, what do they do? Satata kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridhavrata namasyantascha mam bhaktya nitya yukta upasate. So these Mahatmas क्या करते हैं? ये लोग सतत कीर्तयन्तो माम, मेरा कीर्तन करते हैं। कैसे? सतत यतंतश्च दृढ़व्रता, सर्विस करते हैं, सेवा करते हैं मेरी, बाय ट्राइंग वेरी हार्ड विथ डिटर्मिनेशन, बिकॉज उनकी लाइफ भी इजी नहीं होती है। बाय ग्रेट डिटर्मिनेशन, वी सॉ एग्जांपल फ्रॉम श्री प्रभुपाद दैट he started ISKCON only at the age of 70, and from then onwards for 12 years he was working tirelessly. And and for all his 70 years, though he was a great devotee of Lord, he couldn't practice physical, in material terms, he couldn't achieve much success. He didn't even had one disciple until he went to America, and all his efforts to preach were not met with a lot of success, didn't had a lot of success. So he demonstrated great determination, that in serving, while serving Krishna, his desire to serve Krishna was not never affected. So he was constantly thinking about ways and means using which he can serve Krishna in different circumstances, in different ways, in different manner, by writing about Krishna, by publishing Back to Godhead magazine, by actually translating Bhagavatam and giving copies of that to different dignitaries and selling it in the to the people for raising funds for printing more books. Or he tried visiting Japan for interfaith conference, where he could present the philosophy of Krishna consciousness on a larger forum. So many ways and means. And Jhansi, he tried starting something similar to ISKCON. It was called as that time League of Devotees, and that failed. People, those who were supposed to be helping him set up that mission and take it forward on all India basis, they didn't supported him, and then they actually had to give up the land that was acquired for that mission, and he that also became a kind of a failure. His god brothers couldn't support him. Not everyone was enthusiastic about the idea of preaching that. He was the vision that Prabhupada had. Srila Prabhupada had not many shared that vision, though they were all good Vaishnavas. They were following some of the teachings of their acharya, but not every he couldn't get a lot of support from on that front as well. So journey for Srila Prabhupada was also not easy, and he had to strive hard, work extremely hard with great determination. And that's what Krishna says, that pure devotees yatantascha dridhavrata. Dridhavrata is with great determination. They put in all their efforts. Because satata kirtayanto mam is kirtayanto is easy, that hearing and chanting and serving Krishna is, in one sense it is easy, but in one sense it could be materially difficult, materially challenging, and but devotees do it with dridhavrata. So this, between these two extremes lies a whole lot of big lot of population. That on one extreme we have those who deride Krishna, those who insult Krishna, those who think Krishna as a man, as a just like any other human being, just like them. And on the other hand, we have pure devotees who dedicate their life for Krishna, who do nothing else but serving Krishna, service to Krishna. In between these two extremes lies a big chunk of population, and Krishna is going to talk about those people now. What do they do? Jnana, Krishna says in the 15th verse that jnana yajnena chapanye yajanto mam upasate ekatvena prathakvena bahuda vishvato mukham. Very keywords, many keywords are present here. Krishna says that in the translation we'll read, the others are these people who lie in between these two extremes, who engage in sacrifice by the cultivation of knowledge, worship the Supreme Lord as the one, without a second, as diverse in many and in universal form. So three type of worshippers are explained in this particular verse. Krishna says that they worship me alone, mam upasate. However, they do it differently, they do it indirectly, and they do it where the direct worship was possible, they are doing it in a most difficult way. Let's take a look at this concept a little bit more. So we spoke about the two extremes, and those two extremes are verse 11 and 12, where the where the devote the sadhakas of the think Krishna as Mayavadi sadhakas who deride Krishna is like one extreme. The negative, the black is them. The very very negatively minded people. They are described in 11th and 12th. In 13th and 14th verse, Krishna talks about pure devotees who for whom the serving Krishna is the only mission of their life. That's their goal. That's their whole life is dedicated towards Krishna, and to facilitate that, they do whatever else is necessary. So their sole purpose of life is to love and serve Krishna. And these kind of devotees are described in 14th and 13th verse. These the first class devotees, the 11th and 12th verse devotees, are again broken into three components: janati, ajanati, and avajanati. We discussed those. And the 13th and 14th verse devotees are mahatmas, described as mahatmas, engage in satata kirtayanto mam. They are try very hard with great determination. They put in a lot of effort to serve Krishna. The in between the two are the ones devotees, the large chunk of population who consider themselves as devotees, but they serve Krishna differently. They serve Krishna indirectly. The three terms we will examine today in detail are ekatvam. Ekatvam is oneness, and Prathakena Bahuda is the second term. Prathakena is by division, and Bahuda is many. So the Ekatvam represents Brahmavadi. Brahmavadis are those who think that uh, for them the conception is they when they look at world, they look at the world and they think that there is nothing in this world that is permanent. Everything is changing. Everything is changing its form. The seasons are changing, the day and night changing, the months are changing, the years are changing. So in this ever changing world, these devotees come to think that what could be permanent, and then they understand by knowledge, by reasoning, that their core is permanent, that they are spiritual, they are spirit soul, but not that and that there must be something in this world which is also permanent. And then that's why they think that they themselves are God. And so this is a big misconception, and Prabhupada says they are the lowest among these three class of people. That the one who think themselves as God should be considered to be the lowest. Prathakena Bahuda is the one who has more knowledge, but who see the world around him moving, and yeah, who see that the world is operating, and then world cannot operate without operators, and then world, the sun is rising, the moon is rising, moon is setting, sun is setting, seasons are changing, rain comes, and everything is seems to be working perfectly. So if there could be some higher beings who are in control of these services, and then they start worshipping those multiple uh, deities, multiple devatas as so these are demigod worshippers in brief. And so they are second type of devotees. Vishvato Mukham are the ones who consider this whole universe, the whole material world, material nature itself to be the manifestation of God. And Krishna says none of these conceptions are fully right, but neither of them are fully wrong as well. So that they do, so they are not fully right conceptions. The Krishna is the whole world. The Krishna says in the seventh chapter, this entire world is created by his external energy, his apara prakriti, his inferior energy. And the jiva bhutas, or the demigods, or even the living entities, are part of his para prakriti. So both are his energies, and he is the energizer. He is the origin of both these energies. And that way, though the energy and energetic are the same, though they are same, but they are different also. Krishna is independent of his energy also. And that's why this is not complete understanding. And anyone who worship Krishna in this way, this is an indirect type of worship. So let's move further on this. Let's look at some points which Srila Prabhupada has mentioned in the purport, and then we will go to analyzing more deeper conceptions of God. So different types of worshippers of God. So in the purport, Prabhupada says that some of them have already been described as. So in the seventh chapter, Krishna speaks about different type of people who come to Krishna, and there he described Chaturvidha Bhajante Imam. And then he described four type of people, those who come to Krishna. One is Arto, Jigyasu, Artharthi, and Jnani, Cha Bharata Varshabha. So Arto are the one who are in distress. The financially destitute are the Artharthi, and inquisitive are Jigyasu, and those who are Jnani, who want to come to Krishna for cultivation of knowledge, are Jnanis. So these four type of people are superior in nature, in their devotion, because they are coming to Krishna. And Krishna actually refers to them as Mahatma. In the 19th verse says, Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. After many, many births, but they will take many, many births because of these conceptions. They will require many, many births for purification. And then they will understand that Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. At the end of, after many, 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 many births, Bahuna Janma Janmante Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate. With knowledge, by cultivation of knowledge, they will surrender to me completely. So when they are coming to Krishna in this current stage, when they are distressed, when they are financially destitute, or when they are just having positive inquiry, inquisitive, or when they are just trying to cultivate knowledge, at this stage they are not pure devotees. They have their motives. They don't come to Krishna because Krishna is so wonderful object, because because they love Krishna. They don't come to Krishna for the love. They come to Krishna for what they want from Krishna. And Krishna feels happy about that also. But he says uh, they have a better prospect, because Bahuna Janma Janmante Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate. With knowledge, they will surrender to me later. But Prabhupada says, now these people, Prabhupada considers to be of a higher category. They are going to Krishna. When they are in distress, they are going to Krishna. When they want something, they are going to Krishna. Now that is good, better. These people are better off than those who don't go to Krishna when they are distressed. And that's very logical. And so Prabhupada says, but there are others who are still lower. And these are divided in the three categories. The three categories that we just spoke. He who worship himself, that ekatvam, as one with Supreme Lord. He who he who conquered some form of supreme lord and worship that. So these are demigod worshippers who think that everyone is supreme god, or all are supreme god, or you can worship anyone, and that can be the considered as to be the worship of supreme lord. uh, and third type is who accept universal form or the Vishwarup as the supreme personality of Godhead and worship that. Moving further, so out of the above three, now Prabhupada inversely quote that the how now these are lower. These three are lower than the earlier four described, that Artho, Artharthi, Jigyasu, and Jnani. So these three categories are lower, but within them also there is a ranking. The Prabhupada is giving ranking within these three. So out of the above three, the lowest those who worship themselves as Supreme Lord, thinking themselves to be monist and are most predominant. Such people think themselves to be the Supreme Lord, and in this mentality, they worship themselves. This is also a type of God worship, for they can understand that they are not the material body, but they're actually spiritual soul, and at least such sense is prominent. Generally, impersonalist worship the Supreme Lord in this way. The second class includes the worshippers of demigods, those who by imagination consider any form to be the form of Supreme Lord. When we have the conception of God, we want to now there are gods and there are many gods and there is a supreme God. But if you don't know about that hierarchy, then whoever you will see, you may consider him to be the supreme God. That's the misconception, and with this misconception, um, these people, their effort, their endeavors fail. Why? And that's described in 7th chapter. But because Krishna says, because they cannot worship me, uh, are seeing, but they are attracted for quick gains. They approach some other form of deity, other god, other demigod. Krishna says, I make their faith steady. So the faith with which they are worshipping this demigod, Krishna says, I make that faith steady, because if he cannot come to me, at least let him go to this demigod. Let him not go out of Vedic fold, Vedic structure. Let him remain with this demigod at least. Let him remain engaged worshipping this demigod. So Krishna says, for that worship also he needs some faith. Krishna says, I give that faith. And on the other hand, Krishna says, whatever the whatever this demigod is sanctioning, providing him for the as in return for his worship, Krishna says, I give that also to that demigod. I empower that demigod to sanction whatever that boons that he wants to give to this worshipper. So Krishna is practically managing both sides. Why he do this? Because again, that just shows how much he care for us, how much he love us. He doesn't want us to go out of this overall structure of Vedic worship and become atheist and go completely out of this cycle, out of this uh, out of this uh, entire system. So you want us to remain within the system and then progress towards him. If you remain within the system, there is a hope for you to progress towards Krishna. If you go out of this system, then you'll have to be again brought inside the system, and that will require greater effort. So Krishna facilitate both. He makes faith steady on the part of the sadhaka, and he gives his sanction, the demigod, what he can give to this sadhaka in return for his sadhana. And this way, this can go on for some time. But Krishna says, why this cannot operate perpetually? Because he says, the demigod who is granting boons to this sadhaka, he is temporary. The boons which are given by him are limited and temporary. This sadhaka who is worshipping this demigod, he himself is also temporary. So the whole the whole everything connected with this demigod worship is temporary and not eternal, and hence this is destined to fail. So the next category Prabhupada gives is the the third class include those who cannot conceive anything beyond manifestation of this material universe. So they consider universe to be the supreme organism or entity and worship that. The universe is also form of God. Now the worship of universe happens through a performance of yajna. And so Krishna in the next couple of verses explains that the yajna, the material that is consumed in yajna, the ahuti, the mantras that are chanted in yajna, Krishna says, I am that. Everything is me. So by performance of yajna, you're actually worshipping Krishna. Also, all the in this universe, the father of this universe, he says the universe is not a standalone entity nor has come into being on its own. He says, I am the father of this universe, the mother, the support, the grandsire. I am the object of knowledge, the purifier, and the syllable Om. I am also the Rigveda, Samaveda, and Yajurvedas. So why is he speaking about this? Because the Vishwarup Upasada, or those who are worshippers of uh, worshippers of the universal form, will have these conceptions of worshipping Krishna in this way. So Krishna is answering that if you worship me in that way, but that's an indirect worship, because I'm whatever way and means using which you will worship, you are actually, he says, I'm actually that. So why don't you then come and start worshiping me directly? That's the whole point. So let's do one quick activity. Let's take a moment. So we basically talked about different type of God worshippers, and we'll work on this concept a little bit more. So let's take a moment to think or reflect on what we have to think about ourselves, not about our anybody else. Look at ourselves, look inside ourselves, and think what was the need for us to search for God in our life, or what prompted ourselves to search for God. And we'll take a minute, and then we can those who would like, they can reflect and they can share with the entire group, and we'll.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Yes, Ruji, Dandavat Pranam.
So Prabhuji, is this in present context or the before joining the Krishna
Before
consciousness?
joining, yeah, any context, because we came to Krishna consciousness today. We are connected with Krishna, but this journey would have started somewhere.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So you can
So
just reflect on that aspect, and you can share something
yes,
if you would
Prabhuji.
like to.
Yes, Prabhuji. So if I talk about myself personally, like my family used to be very pious kind of family. Like there used to be worship of God, means to our extent of knowledge. And eventually, whenever we used to go to temple, means almost or daily we used to go to temple. So the environment used to be a different one. Means like it used to be calm, cool, soothing one, and which used to give relishment or enjoyment. Like say half an hour or so we are in temple, and we used to enjoy that because there used to be shanti, means which we can see, which we can perceive, which we could perceive at that time. But eventually it so happened that when we started the job, I started the job, that then that daily connect, it got disconnected. And eventually I was trying to find like there should be something, some kind of this connect, this kind of connect. So I went on YouTube and I started seeking the videos, and eventually I found, by grace of Krishna, I found the video of His Grace Amoglila Prabhu. And then by Pushkar Prabhu was in my office only, and he just directed me to the classes of His Grace Narottam Priya Prabhu. So I concluded from that that if your desire is there, that you want to seek Krishna or you want to seek God, He fulfills it. So it so happened in my case actually, Prabhu.
Yeah.
So,
So anybody else would like to
Hare
share?
Krishna.
Thanks Roji for sharing. Anyone else would like to share? So what is it that prompted us to look up for Krishna or look up for God per se. And
So
keep
Hare
it
Krishna,
general. Yeah, yeah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I'm Shweta. So, I was since childhood, I used to worship Krishna and Radha because my native was Vrindavan. But I was not that much serious. But during the COVID and pre-COVID, a lot of challenges and a lot of stress came, and at that time, the direction of Bhagavad Gita helped us to strengthen our soul. So that made our dedication strong. Like we were not that serious, but during this challenging time, chanting of Krishna, remembering of Krishna, and understanding the Bhagavad Gita help us to survive in this stressful condition. So that made us more serious toward worship of Krishna, Radha, and the demigods.
Okay. Thanks so much, Mataji. Yeah. Anyone else have any quick comments? Feel free to unmute. Prabhuji
Hare
wants.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji, actually, during COVID, like Mataji said, during COVID only, we were also suffering from some health issues in our family, and one person was in major like depression state kind of thing, and he was admitted to hospital also. So at that time, like we tried to find many solutions with that if someone could counsel us in a friend's circle or like you can say in material world, but we didn't find any kind of solution. The more we tried to approach people to get out of it, the more we were facing challenges. So one day my friend actually gave me Bhagavad Gita during that marathon, and in 2020 I got it. So I thought that let's go to ISKCON temple. Then there we went, and one Prabhuji gave us this link for chat session 8:30 to 9:15. From that time I started attending, and then I realized that yes, there was something solution means I didn't I'm not telling that it was like very quick, but gradually it was very helpful to us. And now I can see my brother is also like he was only going through that phase. Now he is in Pune, he's got a job over there, that's why. And now he goes and associates with devotees over there. He dances in kirtan and all. So it's very like it's very good to see that we think that we can find solution in the material world, but actually we didn't find. We failed at it, but we succeeded when means we find the solution when we came to Krishna. I can say that. I'm very
Yeah.
grateful for this session, Prabhuji. Like that chat sessions, Bhagavad Gita distribution, that thing has helped us. And now, when my brother has found a solution through Bhagavad Gita, now he distributes Bhagavad Gita to others also. He donates also from his side.
Wonderful. Yeah, wonderful. So the
Hare
yeah, I mean, you
Krishna.
mentioned about quick success, and so singing in kirtans and dancing in kirtan is a sure shot way of experiencing spiritual joy. For that, you should come to temples, come for yatras, and do these
Yes.
activities. And then that's how. So that's a sure shot, quickest way of accessing Krishna's mercy is dancing and
Yes.
singing in kirtan. And those who came to Jagannath Puri know this, and they are willing to come to now Vrindavan in on the 14th, 15th. So all of you are also welcome to join us. Do this activity, and also not to forget prasadam, taking prasadam with devotees. So these are sure shot,
Yes.
quickest way, fast track to Krishna. So
Prabhuji,
Swapnil,
one more thing I
yes,
want to
Mataji.
add. Actually, on that day when we met, once we met, that Prabhuji understood. I don't know why, but he felt like that we are in problematic situation. He offered us prasadam. Means we didn't ask, like, but he said that you take prasadam, it will change your life also. from that time we after that when we came home, then we stopped onion garlic also. And before that it was not possible. We used to feel like ये तो possible ही नहीं है, कांदा लहसुन कैसे छोड़ सकते हैं. But it is life changing. It is actually happening in our life.
Great to hear
Okay,
that,
Prabhuji.
Mataji. Thank
Hare
you so
Krishna.
much, Hare Krishna. Yes, it's transformative, and transformation is what that is secret. That's open secret that we have to all experiment, subject ourselves to that experiment, and experience spiritual bliss, spiritual joy, and that transforms and transform for better. So one more comment I'll just read from the chat box. Swapnil Prabhu has mentioned that to remove my confusion and strengthen my faith in superiority. So, so there is some concept of superiority, someone superior that exists, and we should be. So there is superior subordinate relationship that we have. That starts when we realize that we are not in full control, and we'll talk about that, Swapnil Prabhu, later. Please hang on, stay on with me. So we'll go back to the presentation. Anybody else? Any
Prabhuji,
quick
may I
comments?
speak?
Yeah, please go ahead. Last comment.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. My name is Jayashree, and I came in touch with Krishna consciousness, ISKCON temple, through my daughter's batchmate, Simran Mataji. So, as South Indians, we always were in touch with Lord Krishna, but more in Lord Rama form. So, though Krishna was part of us, we were not really completely aware of Lord Krishna. But somewhere behind in our minds and soul's heart, we could feel Krishna, but that connect was not there. It was a distanced connect. But and that's why we were all praying to demigods and busy with demigod worship and everything, and we always used to request them for favors, help, protection and everything. But when Simran Mataji 3 years back introduced us to ISKCON and invited us to have to attend class and prasadam, that brought a positive connect towards Lord Krishna. The desire was always there to visit ISKCON and see Lord Krishna and Radharani, but it happened finally 3-4 years back, and from that day onwards we could connect more and more towards Lord Krishna. So now, being in the devotee association and chanting, though chanting is less on my part, we are more in connect with Krishna. So it's a great blessing. It's a great blessing. And thank you for your advice, support, guidance through the Devotees Association. We first came in touch with your class only, though we were invited for Narottam Priyadas's Bhagavad Gita class. We landed in your lecture session, and it was a great moment. It was a great moment. It was a start of a pure connect towards Lord Krishna. So things became more clear, more more revealing as to what is Lord Krishna in our life and how we should connect to Lord Krishna. This is the ultimate happiness. This is the ultimate achievement for any human being. And due to the COVID lockdown situation, we should give more time towards devotion to Lord Krishna. So thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you to all the devotees and ISKCON. Thank you for the grace of Lord Krishna and Radharani. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mataji, for sharing wonderfully. So we'll go back to presentation. So after hearing my classes, Narottam Prabhu's session become more relishable. So that's a secret. So, but yes, I think that those are really nectarian and completely enjoyable. I myself enjoy those very well.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So let's take a step backwards and understand this need for God in our life. Or so our life, we go through different stages, and we are born, we have a childhood, we have a student phase, we have a youth, we have become grahastha, we become parents, we have our own children, then we approach old age, we experience disease conditions, and then we go to deathbed. Now, throughout this journey of our life, we have some shelters, immediate shelters that are available with us for anything that we need. We get something, we have something to fall back on. What are those? Our own intelligence, and we all have it. We all have our intelligence. We have our own mind, which is capable of producing a lot of desires, but also capable of doing a lot of things, a lot of lot of thinking and willing and feeling. All that can come from mind and can be very helpful. We have abilities. We have abilities to do things. We have talents to perform certain things. We have certain skills. We have memory. We have we have knowledge that we can acquire and comprehend. So all this help us sail through major part of our life. In addition to that, we have a family, which is immediate circle of people who are directly connected with us, who try to help us wholeheartedly in our difficult times. We have social circle, in in just enlarging that family concept to a social circle or a community circle or a country. So these are our shelters that we look up to when we are in difficulty. Typically, the sources of enjoyment that we generally have, the knowledge, gaining knowledge itself can be enjoying. Learning new things. We studied a conversation between a scientist and a professional Prabhupada. Then he said, there is so much great joy we get by analyzing a leaf or a grass, that now we can understand its different components, and we get great joy out of doing it. And that pursuing knowledge itself could be a sense of enjoyment for many. The sense enjoyment, we all this is common. That's that's why the whole of population is striving towards eating, mating, sleeping, defending, and doing it in a better way. That's a sense enjoyment that they want to do this. The whole effort is directed towards that. After doing this, at times we also like to do social work. We like to be of some help or use to the people around us, uh, who are less deprived, who don't have all that what we possess, and so on and so forth. So we do some social work, or we do some environmental conservation, or help animals, or plant trees, or do whatever. These are kind of things can also give us source of enjoyment. So for some, or for many people, these kind of activities will occupy a large part of their life, or almost entire their life will go in doing these things. The enjoying gaining knowledge, enjoying doing some kind of a social work at the most, and then that's it. The enjoyment itself covers occupy large section of our life, and for that whatever we need has can come from the upper our intelligence, our abilities, our talent, using which we can acquire resources, we can control resources, and we can continue indulging in these activity which could give us which becomes sources of enjoyments for us, and we can do it all throughout our life till we go on our deathbed. For some, while some, and for anybody who is doing it while operating within the, even though operating within the dharmic structure, without really without really stealing money, without really, I want to enjoy, let me steal from others, without having to do any of those things, illegal or abominable things, without doing, also they can, while staying completely within the boundaries of dharma, they can do all these activities, and they may not even see the need for a need to inquire about God ever. And they may, the whole lifetime may just go. And we know, I know many people, you all may know many people who per se does not see a need or role for God in their life. He said, जो मुझे चाहिए था, I am capable of getting it on my own. I'm capable of earning. I've earned enough. I don't aspire to go and live in a palace. I'm happy with whatever flat I'm owning right now in Mumbai or in wherever I'm staying, and I'm eating 2 times, 3 times a meal. I'm having my limited aspirations, and I'm quite happy. So why unnecessarily you are trying to inject God into my happy world as it is today? So for these people, they may never, the whole lifetime may go, and they may never see the need to inquire about God. However, some will see things going out of their control at times, as it was described by some Dwarkana. Okay, so by some did describe this, that at times things really don't go remain in our control, and we seems to be things seems to be out of our control in great way, and we at times appears to be helpless in front of that situation. And this is the time when we start actually searching for, if we are not in control, अगर हम कंट्रोल में नहीं है हमारे situations के, then who is in control? Let me find out who that person is who is having control over me. Somebody could be attached to their looks. They look beautiful in youth, or they look great in whatever, they have some strength, they have some whatever their whatever our attachments that we've developed. And if we see those things going away much against our desire, so that at times can give us that can give rise to a question कि ये क्यों हो रहा है मेरे साथ? If I'm beautiful, I'm Miss Universe today, and from tomorrow onwards I'm becoming old, I'm becoming, my beauty is fading, I'm losing my beauty, I'm losing my hairs, giving, my skin is becoming bad, and my eyes are becoming weak, now I'm started wearing a spec, and so on and so forth. So my deterioration, I don't want it to happen, however it is happening. I don't want to fall sick, however I am forced to fall sick. And I'm growing old, I don't like to grow old, however I am growing old, and all this is happening much against my desire. And there starts the beginning of the inquiry, that if I'm not in control of my life, then who is in control of my life? Why am I at times, in spite of I have not done anything wrong to anybody in my current life or in my current memory, why am I subjected to sufferings? Why am I subjected to miseries? Why am I subjected to distress? And is it, is there something that I can do about it? What is there something more to this world than doing these, going through these 8 phases and doing these activities which are on the right hand side? Just try and enjoy and die. Is there anything more into this world? Why this world is created at all? Why? What is the deeper meaning for which this world exists? For me exists. For I exist. For this human form of body exists. So this is the trigger. This could be the trigger that with which many may start inquiring a little bit more about the conception of God. The 3 more aspects which trigger this discussion are the eternity, knowledge, and bliss. Eternity is, we all have innate desire to live forever. We hear from all the Bollywood movies, Hollywood movies. We read in novels that they, the after the climax, the hero, heroine, and whatever, the family unites, and from then onwards they live happily ever after. Now, this happily ever after, the ever after aspect is what we are discussing here. Happily, we will discuss as part of bliss. The question is, when there is nothing in our environment eternal, everything is changing, then from where we have this desire to live eternally? Um, so, so this question, that why I have a desire to live eternally, cannot be answered in the, we don't find answer to this question in the world, external environment around us, in the world around us. By studying the world around us, we cannot find this answer, that why are we desiring to live eternally? Nobody wants to die. Even a ant or a mosquito or a bedbug will try to save his life. He wants to live eternally. He wants to live as much as he can. He wants to enjoy as much as he can, but he wants to live also. In order to enjoy, he wants to live also as much as he can. Nobody wants to die. And so this desire to live eternally, there's no answer in the external environment that explains us. Because when we see the whole world is subject to destruction, the whole world around us gets distracted, then from where we have a desire to live eternally? It's like a boy in the African jungle who has got no exposure to internet, or who has never seen a pizza shop in his whole life, living is just killing animals and eating them. He suddenly go to his mother and ask for a pizza. Mama, I give me pizza. And mama says, what is pizza? Is new animal that you've seen, or a bird that you've spotted? What is pizza? Because in the external environment there is no such thing called pizza, then from where this kind of a desire also comes to live eternally? So this is why this is what point us that if in order to search for answer to this kind of a question, we need to go towards scriptures. We are forced to accept scriptures. We have to force to go towards scriptures and read from scriptures the answer to this kind of a question. So scriptures talk about origin. Now, origin, the scientific world cannot explain, cannot understand, cannot tell us about the origin. The origin is explained by the scriptures. Second pillar is knowledge. Now, all of us wants to make sense of everything around us. We, this is a chit potency, the sat chit ananda. The chit potency is knowledge potency. We don't want to live life doing those 8 activities. We will be forced to go through those 8 stages or 6 stages of life, and we are using our skills. We will be able to sustain ourselves or figure out how to sustain ourselves throughout our lifespan, whatever be it. But all the arrangements that we make for ourselves, all the setup that we create for ourselves, all the best flat that I want, best that I have purchased for myself, best house that I have constructed for myself, best car that I have purchased for myself, best family that I have created over years. I've nourished the relationships with my wife, my parents, my children, and all that just get distracted, halted, or interrupted at the moment of death. So, what is it that what this death which disrupt the entire idea, entire all arrangement that I have made all throughout my life, all so many decisions I have taken with great attention, great care, great planning. The death kind of disrupts everything, and then just creates a black hole in front of ourselves, and we just don't know what happens after that, because the current environment, external environment, is unable to give any of those answers. So the quest for knowledge is satisfied to some extent by research in the area of science and technology, but the question is, who made universe to function so systematically remains unanswered, which again point us to the scriptures. What is the purpose for which this universe is created and it is operating in such a systematic way? That remains unanswered, for which we have to go to scriptures. So this aspect is called value. We learn values from scriptures. So bliss is another pillar, a very important pillar, the ananda, sachit ananda. That ananda pillar is the very important. So all of us want to love and to be loved and remain happy for all the time. Nobody wants miseries to come to them, and nobody but work hard to get miseries. We work hard, try to get happiness. For that, we are ready to give and give up things for our beloveds or loved ones. We have our object of love, and we ourselves are loving, and then we at times we want to give things to our beloved, and we want to give up certain things for our beloved. uh, a mother could be watching TV at 7 p.m. Their prime show, the best, their most favorite serial on TV. Or father could be watching cricket match, the most important cricket match of his of the day, and the son could be studying, sitting next to them. And in spite of they having a great desire to watch that serial or cricket match, they give up their enjoyment for the sake of study of their child, because they love their child. So they give things to their child, they give their love, they give their affection, they give their care, they give facilities to their children, and they give up for the sake of their child also. They give up their own personal enjoyment, their own personal pleasures. At times they give up for the sake of their child. So this is this is what reciprocation of love. This is how we love people. This is how we expect others to love us also. And so we expect reciprocation. When we love, we expect reciprocation. And at times our reciprocation becomes successful, and at times it becomes unsuccessful. When it becomes unsuccessful, we get unlimited miseries. So scriptures tell us how to find perfect happiness. That's the purpose of life. So
Yeah.
one more important point we will discuss. Sorry, but that keep happening. Okay. Now when we want to go to scriptures, I'll just mute myself. Yeah, please don't unmute yourself so that we avoid disturbance. So when we talk about scriptures, does every scripture give us everything? No, there is a hierarchy. We'll look at that hierarchy. When we use the word scripture, we use it in a generic way. The Vedas are also scriptures. However, the Vedas don't talk about Krishna directly. Don't By studying Vedas, one will not automatically come to conclusion that Krishna is supreme personality of Godhead and he has to be worshipped and we have to surrender to him. Why? Because Vedas are meant for general population. The large chunk of population today, we all have taken birth in this material world to fulfill our desires. So if that is the idea with which the world has been created, and that is the reason why the entire population has come here, the Vedas provide you with this information that how you can try and enjoy independently of Krishna by staying within the boundaries of dharma. So it's called pious materialism or karma kanda section. So that's what using by staying within the three modes of material nature, uh, how you can enjoy, how you can try to enjoy by staying within the boundaries of dharma. That's what Vedas contain, and that's where when Krishna says that Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna, that go beyond the teachings of Veda, because Vedas will keep you bound in this world. If you simply follow the Vedic instructions, you will remain within the world, because Vedas don't talk about transcendence or going beyond this cycle of birth and death. So they will keep you bound in the cycle of birth of death. They may keep you within the boundaries of dharma, thereby your sufferings are minimized, but the sufferings cannot be completely taken away, because this material nature of this world itself is to give suffering. The purpose of world is to give you suffering, so sufferings will always be there. So this is Vedas talk about pious materialism or a karma kanda. Now Upanishads are conclusions from Vedas which point towards higher spiritual reality but don't give any direct conclusive evidence. Ishopanishad, for example, it talks about the supreme being different and the supreme being eternal, and then but it points towards it but does not directly conclude that Krishna is that supreme Lord. Bhagavad Gita, it is also an Upanishad. It is called Gita Upanishad, but that clearly establishes Krishna as supreme personality of Godhead and as a goal for one's life. Does not talks about demigod. He Krishna progressively talks about all the things, all the things that different people might be engaged at different point of time, and he conclusively discuss it for some time and then give a higher principle, and then go higher and then come to bhakti, which is the highest, and confirms that this is the highest, and recommends it to Arjuna that you perform bhakti in the human form of life, and that will give you benefit of all the lower activities but also much more than that. So bhakti is established as a process or a devotional service as a means to achieve the goal. So there is a goal, there is a supreme object of goal, that is the supreme personality of Godhead, Krishna, to be attained, and that becomes goal of one's life. And process is given to attain that goal. That is devotional service. Devotional service has two legs or two angles. One is sadhana, that is hearing and chanting, and service, serving devotees in their mission in any way possible. Now, Bhagavatam also describes how different devotees applied these principles in their lives, in their different time zones, in different Satya Yuga, in Dwapar Yuga, Treta Yuga, and different yugas. How they acted using the principles which were given in Bhagavad Gita, how they implemented those principles, because they provide as a case study. They become a case studies of those, how those rules can be applied in real life and how they attain the success at the end of their life. Chaitanya Charitamrita is again the highest, which again describes the mind or heart of Lord Krishna himself, how he is eagerly desiring to give Krishna consciousness, to welcome everybody back into back to Godhead, and how he's striving hard for that. So this is we'll study this last verse, and then we'll look at the purport of this verse, and then we'll close today's session. We'll go to the question answer. So 18th verse, Krishna gives different goals that we may have. Now, Gatir Gatir Bharta Prabhu Sakshi Nivasah Sharanam Surhat Prabhavah Pradayah Sthanam Nidhanam Bijam Avyayam. I am the goal, the sustainer, the master, the witness, the abode, the refuge, and the most dear friend. I am the creation and annihilation, the basis of everything, resting place of the eternal seeds. So let's study all these components. The different components are talked about by Krishna. Now, these are the different reasons that why people may search for God. People may look up for God, that they want something better, something higher than what they currently have. So Gati is goal. The ultimate Krishna is the ultimate goal. So the purpose of creation of human body, which is an extremely complex machine, is to be known, is not to just try and enjoy, and then die. The It's like when such a complex machine is created, the human body is extremely complex machinery. The way different organs function, the way different processes happens, the way food digestion happens, the way the breathing happens, the way our thought become words and are spoken, and the way we capture images, we see images, the way that our brain can analyze, the way our mind can think, the feel, the produce desires. It's all extraordinary. It's all work in an extremely systematic way, much beyond what a human being can create, much better than any supercomputer, much better, far superior than any other creation that what humans have created so far. So this creation doesn't not create, and we see all these humans functions. So what is the purpose when there is such a complex machinery created? Is there any manual to operate this machinery and to know that what it is meant to be used for? So this purpose of using human life, purpose of using the body, human body, that's what been created, which is seems so perfect, um, is to know the what is the purpose, what is the need for us to get this kind of a body, that which is not definitely not to just try and enjoy and die at the end of our life, because we are forced to leave this body, and the body get destructed in front of our eyes, and we ourselves can see for others, when our relatives passed away, what happens with their bodies. The same thing will going to happen to our body. So we maintain this body so well, we take so much care of this body throughout its life. But what is the point, what is the point of given this life and this human form of body, whereby by if it is just going to get destructed at the end of our life? So the purpose, Bhagavad Gita teaches that the purpose of human life is to attain Krishna and end the cycle of birth. For this is the purpose for which this body is given, not to just try and enjoy and then die and then take birth again and again try in different entering different species of life, by becoming insects, by becoming fish, by becoming animals, and then sometimes becoming human, and but just repeating these four activities birth after birth. That's not what the purpose of our life, or our having given have of our arrival in this planet. It has a higher purpose. The higher purpose is to end the cycle of birth and going back to Krishna. So once we attain Krishna, we can end the cycle of birth. Otherwise, we are forced to remain in this purpose. So Krishna says that purpose for which human life is meant to be lived is me. In this verse, Krishna says, so Bharta is sustainer. Krishna says, I'm the sustainer of everyone. So all the arrangements in this world are made for subsistence of human beings from moment we are born till we are dead. From the moment the mother's breast, milk is available the moment baby is born. After birth also, there is oxygen cycle, there is water cycle, there is sun giving light and heat, rain, vegetation producing food grains. Everything is available. All the facility is made available by Krishna. Krishna says, I have created this entire cycle. I have created this entire facility for ensuring your sustenance. So our sustenance is, we may think that we are earning, but it is ensured by Krishna. Krishna is giving us the intelligence to go to office and work. Krishna is giving, causing rains to fall so that the vegetation can grow. Krishna is giving the taste in the food grains, which using which we get nourishment, we get taste as well as nourishment, and our body is sustained and we live happy, we will live for the duration of lifespan that is allotted to us. All this is happening because of Krishna. Krishna says everything is seems to be happening automatically, but Krishna clarifies that it is he who is doing everything, and the sustenance of everybody is his responsibility. the the Prabhu, Krishna says, I am the Lord of all the living entities. Sakshi, his witness. How can we understand Krishna is Sakshi? He is he's in everybody's heart. Ruddeshi Arjuna Tishtati. He confirms that in multiple places in Bhagavad Gita, he confirms that that he is in heart of every living entity. And Krishna is present in every heart, and he's witnessing every desire that we express or each action that we take. So he's a witness, he's a sakshi. And how do we understand that? What happens? What is the use of he being sakshi? He's sakshi because of him. Everything, all our good and bad karma are recorded, and we face consequences of those actions. And how do we perceive that these consequences are real? We see variety in this world. We see someone taking birth in a very opulent rich family and someone taking birth on the street in a next to a gutter. And why this differentiation, why this variety that we see in the world? Is this just a matter of bad luck for a person who took birth next to a gutter? Or is it, so does it make a cosmic lottery? Is not, does it look like a lottery whereby some will get good facility by chance, and some may not get all those good facilities by chance? Is it matter of chance, or is it something more? Krishna says, I'm Sakshi. I'm know who has done what. Accordingly, I give them the fruits that they deserve. And because everybody's actions are different, their fruits are different. And because their fruits are different, some are enjoying, some are suffering. And all that is happening, that you can see around us, it's not because because it was a bad luck on part of some and good luck on part of some. And that's where Krishna clarifies that he is witness for everyone, and he's giving everyone the fruits that they deserve. So everyone who is begging on the street is begging because he has worked hard to become a beggar, and who is enjoying in opulent condition, he's worked hard to get that opulence also. So either way, we work hard for our whatever we get. Nivasa, abode, Krishna says the residences, the Prabhupada says the residences, countries or planets on which we live are also Krishna. Sharanam, refuge. Krishna is ultimate goal or shelter. Therefore, one should take shelter of Krishna either for protection or for annihilation of his distress. And whenever we have to take protection, we should know that our protection must be a living force, and Krishna is that living entity. If we want ourselves to be protected, we can't, and that protection comes from a living entity, and therefore Krishna is a living entity. Krishna is a person and he's personal. He can save us from, and we can definitely pray to him for our protection. Surut, the most intimate friend. And since Krishna is the source of our generation, the supreme father, the no one can be better friend than Krishna. No one can, anyone, you cannot have a better well-wisher than Krishna. So give Krishna to everyone, bring Krishna in everyone's life, and then their life will become sublime. So Krishna is Prabhava Pralaya, is the original source of creation and ultimate rest after annihilation. Uh, Pradaya means annihilation. Krishna is therefore the eternal cause of all causes. All of them, all these people that we've seen are searching for God for different reasons. Krishna says, I am the ultimate object for their search. That's me. That's if they come to me, all their aspirations, all their desires will be fulfilled at once. So just to summarize, and then we'll go to question answers. Everyone is searching for God, whether they know it or they don't know it, whether they admit it or they don't admit it, whether they like it or they don't like it. Everyone is searching for God. So scriptures like Bhagavad Gita clearly tell us who God is and what we should do to attain Him. Attaining Him should be our object. And therefore, that's how the transformation happens. Because for for devotees, when we learn that we are not this body, we are spirit soul, we are spirit soul, we are hum atma hai. We first sentence we say is that we are not our body, and then we say that we are spirit soul. Others maybe just saying that we are spirit souls, but we are not our body is not emphasized. If you don't do that, then our connection with body, the bondage with body, or the relationship with body, or the activities on the bodily level, they continue as they are, and therefore we don't see any transformation. So by simply putting the things inversely, we want to attain Krishna. Krishna becomes our life. Rather than making Krishna consciousness part of our life, we turn the whole process upward down. And then that's how the transformation happens. Then we do everything else, all other activities we do as a complement to Krishna consciousness, which is which we consider ourselves to be, which we consider to be our primary activity. So Krishna consciousness become primary activity. The hearing become primary activity. Chanting become primary activity. Serving become primary activity. And to facilitate that, if I had to work, I will go to office and work. I'll have family so that I can follow practice Krishna consciousness steadily. So I will have family. I will have children so that all my family members can practice or help me in serving Krishna and devotees nicely. So all other everything else become supplementary and to this primary objective of serving Krishna and worshipping Krishna. So that's how the transformation, and this is not done by many. So generally people have the whatever the god worship that they do, that's part of their life. Just like sometimes they do go to clubs, sometimes they go to temples, and that way they cannot make much progress towards developing love for Krishna. The values, origin, and purpose cannot be learned from any other source other than scriptures. Within scriptures also, not every scripture give us Krishna. Vedeshcha sarvar aham eva vedya. So I am to be known from Krishna because Krishna is hidden in the scriptures. Krishna is hidden. By learning Vedas, one will never come to conclusion that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, and one has to surrender one's life to attain Him, because that's not what people are searching for. The people, large chunk of population is searching for sense enjoyment. Hence, Vedas give information about sense enjoyment by staying within dharma. However, one can, if we are one so desire, one can still find Krishna within Vedas by studying Vedas also. And in Bhagavad Gita makes it easier. Our acharyas makes it furthermore easier because Srila Prabhupada has given ultimate message of Krishna consciousness in practically every verse, every purport of his verse. So by reading one verse, everybody will understand any verse. Everybody will understand that surrendering to Krishna is the highest objective of one's life, and that's what one should live for. Even though there is a progression in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna doesn't speak that. Otherwise, he would have started speaking Bhagavad Gita by just speaking Sarva Dharman Parityajya, and then it would have all ended there. He go through the progression, but our acharyas put the conclusion of this progression in every verse, a purport to every verse. Hence, they made it very easy for us to understand. By learning about goal of life, one must act. One must act in knowledge and with a desire to attain that success at the end of life. And in this way, the mission of attaining human birth can become successful. Our mission is not to enjoy, not just to enjoy, but also to attain Krishna. to make Krishna our objective, or make Krishna our ultimate goal, and that can become successful by pursuing the sadhana bhakti. So we'll just stop there. We'll take any questions that anyone may have, or comments that anybody wants to share.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prajay.
Actually, Prabhuji, one confusion is in mind. As we are following the Satvik Bhojana and activities, so but due to some body conditions, so we not feeling well and went to the doctor and prescribed some medicine, which those medicine mainly does not lie in the Satvik food. Okay, with the red symbol of, okay. So is it good, like if we will have those medicine because of not feeling well due to some any circumstances? Prabhuji, your system is mute.
Sorry, Prajay. Yeah, so that's a important question, and it's a practical question as well. How do we handle this kind of a situation? So if I mean, we again learn from Srila Prabhupada's life when he was sick. In the Lilamrut, that description comes when his father was advised that you should give chicken soup to your son if you want your son to survive, and he refused. He said, "I'll not give," and Prabhupada survived. Not only he survived, went through his childhood, became young, and created ISKCON and died at the age of 82, 83. So it's easy to get carried away at times, but if we are so determined, we have to offer our medicine also to Krishna and before we take them. Not only just food, because if we want our medicines to be effective, it is Krishna with whose mercy those medicines will have effect, not otherwise. So even medicines need to be offered to Krishna. Ayurveda says that you have to remember Vishnu at the time of taking medicine, and then only that medicine can have effect. So what to speak of? I mean, there's no question of offering a, a medicine which has a red mark on it, which indicates it could contain the meat or the egg content. So that's very clear message. However, if depending on one's circumstances, I mean, when you can refer to or go to an Ayurvedic doctor, then they can suggest an alternative medicines, and see to it that consult devotees, call devotees, just given my number, uh, speak about some specific instance where this kind of a situation has arisen and what can be done. You can get alternate methods, but there's no need for us to consume meat or any content which has a red mark on it, which indicates a flesh or meat could be there content. There's no need for that. And this is again we learn from a life of our acharyas. So it's not that we have concocted ourselves. This is example. We lead from our examples.
Ji, Prabhuji.
Hare
And
Krishna,
one
Prabhuji.
more.
Hare Krishna, Vinod Prabhu.
Prabhuji, we just talked about the scriptures and other things. So, just I have one question here. Like when this universe and this Prakriti was created, and at that time Vedas came as a first scriptures to how to live life on earth and what are the rules and regulations. So, but Krishna always wanted that those who are having desire of living or enjoying separately away from Krishna can go to this world and live life like that. But he always wanted that everyone should come back to him, and it is his extreme and utmost desire that every soul should come back. So why this knowledge or a message to come back to Krishna was not given in the beginning at the time of creation of this universe, rather than it came at later on in the form of Bhagavad Gita. Earlier, this knowledge was also given to Surya, that is there, but as a part of the scripture, why it was not there at that time. Moreover, when we talk about this Vedas and all, so the information which is contained in the Veda is simply giving the way of living life in a sattvic way, right? So the information related to that, to Krishna or Supreme Personality of Godhead, should be given in the beginning, because that was the utmost desire. So that was my question, that it should be like.
So yeah, so very nice question, Dhruji. Thank you so much. So this is Krishna's utmost desire. What was the desire of the jivas? Their desire was to enjoy. So if you happen to be if there is a supermarket of books, then the book that you want to read is not read and understood by many. Very few people in the world read that kind of a book. So will this book be prominent, or bestsellers will be prominent? Bestseller books which are read by general population, which are in demand, are those books which are bestsellers, which become bestsellers. So this book also will be available, but it will not be prominently available. Why? Because everyone who is coming to the store is asking for something else. When you search on Amazon for something, when you search for a recipe book, when you search for a fictional book, when you search for science fiction book on Amazon, when you search is science fiction, you cannot get philosophical book, you cannot get religious book, even though they might be available. So therefore, Krishna doesn't say is that in the 15.15 verse, Krishna says that Vedesh sarve ahameva vidya, that by knowing Vedas, by studying Vedas, I am to be known. He doesn't say that by studying Vedas I will be known, because Krishna is hidden in the Vedas. One will have to search for Krishna while studying Vedas. He's not very prominent, and for a simple reason is the people who are approaching Vedas, the large chunk of population for whom Vedas are meant, now they instead of letting them enjoy the way they want, give them facility to enjoy by staying within the boundaries of dharma. So that is the purpose of Vedas. So Vedas ensure that dharma, artha, kama, and eventually people come to moksha. That stay within the boundaries of dharma and pursue your artha and kama, earn and desires, on the, the on the opulence, control resources, and fulfill your kama. That's your desire. Try and fulfill your desires. Eventually come to moksha. Now the moksha, it's not that it doesn't exist in the Vedas, but it is not very prominent because people don't want it that way. People, when you go to a place for enjoying, you are least interested, bother about going back. You don't want to go back. And that's how the situation of people is. And hence Krishna has given, and Krishna by his own mercy, has given this facility, created this facility for enjoyment, and has also given facility for anybody who's interested in going back. He can follow that path and go back to him also. So he's given us complete information, complete facility. The facility is complete for some enjoyment, and but also ultimately achieving liberation, achieving going back to Krishna. And that's how it is.
When jail manual is, if you are punished with certain amount of punishment in number of years and like that, so there is also a guideline that yes, if you do well and if you do this thing, then this kind of your punishment can be reduced, and if you do this, then it will reduce to this time period, and also you can be released early. So then when the guidelines for life was created on earth in the form of Vedas, so and also the God wanted that we should go back, this kind of input or information to come back to Godhead should have been in the beginning itself, rather than it came after many years of the existence of human being.
Yeah. So the information was available right at the beginning. However, it was not prominent. I didn't say that it was not available. It is not made available only when Bhagavad Gita was spoken. Bhagavad Gita was, knowledge of Bhagavad Gita was even available prior, because that's how we see in Bhagavatam that Prahlad Maharaj or many devotees of Lord whose description comes in Bhagavatam, they are not they are much older generations or yugas. In terms of yugas, they belong to much earlier yugas. However, this was because this knowledge was lost in the course of time, it was re-established. So Krishna didn't give fresh knowledge. The knowledge was ever existent, and it was simultaneously given. That those who wish to enjoy using this facility, this knowledge, and those who wish to come back to me use this facility or this knowledge. So everything was given simultaneously. So the manual contained everything. People choose to read what interests them more. Now it's how would you then how would you describe this? Now if I don't want to read that part which will take me back to Krishna, which will deprive me. So apparently, if somebody is attached to eating meat, now you cannot eat meat continuously and go back to Krishna, because for that there is no purification happening. You are too caught up in your desire to eat meat or eat onion garlic, because you are just stopping to offer food to Krishna. You cannot offer food to Krishna. You don't show any commitment to Krishna. So there is no reciprocation that you will get from Krishna. So these are the people, those who want to do things, they will continue to be engaged in reading those portions of scriptures with which they can continue to get do what they want to do. So they will be least interested in this section of Vedas, or this section of Vedantas, or this section of Upanishads, which will deprive them so-called of their own happiness, their own enjoyments. So nobody likes that deprivation, and therefore they will not be interested in reading this. Even if it is available, they will ignore it. And that's what people do. These instructions even today are available for everyone. And even we went to Jagannath Puri, on the street, Grand Street, where the Rath Yatra happens, there also the meat is sold. That's there. What you can do? Those people could also be claim themselves as devotees. They may sometime go to visit Jagannath, but they eat meat on their free time. Otherwise, sitting right in front of the temple of Jagannath. So it is today also they are unable to give up their desire for sense enjoyment, and therefore they are not able to take up this process very seriously, and therefore they cannot make much progress of developing love for Krishna. There's no question of them remembering Krishna. How will they remember Krishna if they are not practiced it throughout their life? It's not accident. So this is the answer. This is how we understand that we
Thank
can't.
you, Prabhuji, for a very relaxing session, and really we enjoyed and enlightened every week. We are eagerly waiting for your sessions. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Yeah, thank you so much, Vinod Prabhu. So Prabhuji, Swapnil Prabhu, you want to ask question, Prabhu? I think last time also you asked a nice question, but I think we answered that question after the session. After, I think you were probably not there in the session. So if you're around, you can ask the question. I'll just read out. Prabhuji, please guide what are the practical ways to attain Krishna consciousness in this material world. What we do will that. So hearing, chanting, taking prasad, and associating with devotees. That's how we can cultivate Krishna consciousness. So it's a cultivation. It's a slow process. It's a process where we starts with our desire, and with desire we get in touch with devotees. We talk to devotees. We express our desire. So that's a sadhu sangam. The shraddha, sadhu sangha, then bhajana kriya. Then comes bhajana kriya. Bhajana kriya is where you take up the process of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Chant few rounds, join our group on Zoom, and chant with the group devotees, learn how to chant, then extend this chanting to 1 hour, then to 2 hours, start chanting 16 rounds, start hearing continuously, because this knowledge also is heard once and forgotten the next moment, because that's how strong the Maya is. And so if we want constant remembrance of Krishna, we need constant hearing about Krishna, and that is facilitated through chat session that happens every evening. So join those sessions. So till today, you can understand that Krishna was part of your life. Now you want to make Krishna your life. So Krishna, when he was part of your life, probably your life had 98% activities planned for things other than Krishna. Now you want to inverse it and make 90% of your time, or if possibly make maximum time part of your life devoted to Krishna. And that's difficult because you'll have to make a lot of adjustments in your daily schedule, daily routine, to bring Krishna at the center and then do other activities around Krishna. So even if joining, getting up at 5 a.m. or 5:30 a.m., 6 a.m. is difficult, you should do it, because that is what will show your commitment, sincerity to Krishna. And then, so these are the things that we can do on our end. Then we get mercy from devotee and mercy from Krishna, that we have to depend on Krishna eventually to get taste in our chanting. By their grace, we start enjoying chanting, we start enjoying kirtan, we start enjoying prasad. Then and then for that, you can choose to come to yatras, because that will accelerate that process, because there you will be 24, you'll have a 24-hour, will live life 24-hour in the Krishna conscious way. You'll have nothing else to think about during yatra days, whatever 3 days yatra, 4-day yatra, all 3 days you will simply be submerged in Krishna consciousness. You'll have nothing else to think of. So that is kind of speed up the whole process, and we just repeat chanting, we just repeat hearing, we just repeat serving Krishna and taking prasad. These 4 things, if we do, these are good enough to attract attention from Krishna, because uh, there is something we can do using our abilities, using our skills, our talents, our abilities. But there are some things that that comes by revelations. The scriptures are revelations by Lord. They are not come by any other source. They are, so similarly, Krishna consciousness is also revealed by Krishna from within our heart. And then we start enjoying this process. The process becomes joyful. We start experiencing spiritual joy, and that makes our faith deepens, and we practice the same thing, same activities with far more conviction. And then that's how we develop, we build on the constant remembrance of Krishna. That is what is spoken by Krishna so elaborately in the 8th chapter, that satata kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridhavrata. Then तेषां सततयुक्तानां भजतां प्रीतिपूर्वकं ददामि बुद्धियोगं त्वां येन माम् उपयान्ति ते. Then ananyachetaः सतत यो मां स्मरते नित्यशः तस्याहं सुलभः पार्थ yogam तस्याहं सुलभः पार्थ. So these are the verses, तेषां सततयुक्तानां भजतां प्रीतिपूर्वकं. Then these are the verses which confirms that there is a emphasis from Krishna on constant remembrance, cultivating constant remembrance, and that is possible by doing these activities. So thanks for very nice question.
Thank you, Prabhuji. I was there. Probably I was on mute. Swapnil here.
Oh,
But
Swapnil, Krishna.
yeah, Prabhuji, I got the answer. But you know, I think myself, or unlike others, we are very inferior, and to attain Krishna is a level wherein Krishna has given us a process and guidance. So a lot of dilemmas, lot of questions which comes into the mind, and to clear or to attain purity and to attain chaitanya or consciousness, we need to attend all your sessions, and probably that will clear our mind before we start directly getting into the action. But being in practical world, materialistic world, we still want to, you know, be attached to that process, while simultaneously we understand that what is the need and the purpose, ultimate purpose of our living in this world. So you know, that is what I think.
No, that's very, thanks for sharing these thoughts, and they're very important to share one's heart. And another good way of doing it is call me up. I've shared my mobile number on the screen in the chat box, so we can discuss more elaborately and clear our doubts. Because you're right, in one sense, we want to make changes, but we don't want to make too many changes in too quick time and don't know what it will lead to, and kind of create a disturbance or disruption in our current life. Can that be a problem? Yes, you may think like that, but all this can be talked about, and we can see how a philosophy can easily be applied without creating any disturbance. That's not that difficult as it may sound, but yes, there will be some commitment is needed from our end also, and that's what we say that yatantascha drudhavrata, that determination is required, the desire is required, and then determination is required to act on our desire with determination. So feel free to call. Just send me your number, WhatsApp number. I don't think I have your number, so feel free to call me and we can discuss through this topic more details.
Sure, Prabhu. Sure.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you so much, Roji. So
Hare,
Dwarkanath Prabhuji, yeah, Hare Krishna Mataji. So please go ahead.
okay, this is Sabita here.
Yes, Mataji.
I've had a good fortune recently of listening to a couple of Upanishad discourses. And as you rightly say, the attainment of moksha, though it comes, it doesn't come as clearly as it comes in the Bhagavad Gita. And but one question that was always running in my head was, the word Krishna is not used in the Upanishads. I see that, but it comes across as Ishvara very often. So do we take it as both these are the same, the creator, Ishvara, Krishna, is it all the same that it comes? So this was something that was running in my head.
Sure, Mataji. So the Brahma Samhita, the first verse begins by connecting the dots. That it reads like Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchit Ananda Vigraha Anadi Adira Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. So there, these dots are connected. That Ishvara, which is talked about in Ishopanishad or even many other Upanishads, is nothing but Krishna. Ishvara Parama Krishna. Sachit Ananda Vigraha. Vigraha, he's a form. There is a form of Krishna. So like Upanishad, even Ishopanishad points us to in the direction that the absolute truth. It talks about absolute truth, Param Satyam. That absolute truth can be a person or is a person, but it doesn't reveal that person. So, and that is done subsequently by the acharyas, and then the Brahma Samhita is the first. Lord Brahma is the first acharya because he saw Krishna face to face, and therefore he described his beauty. So by just like by logic, we can infer that God exists. By logic, we cannot conclude that God is a bluish, blackish complexion, 16-year-old boy, very beautiful looking and playing flute, carrying a flute in his hand all the time and playing flute. Now, this can only come through revelation. So anyone who has seen Lord like this face to face, he can reveal, he can describe, and he can only provide this information. Now, for someone else who has not seen this image, this picture, this form, for him, this will remain a mystery. However, for the person who has seen it, for him there is no confusion. He's absolutely clear that what he has seen, and that's how that's the so because the God has been revealed to him. God was revealed to Brahmaji, and that's how when God is revealed to us, we also experience bliss, and we also experience his presence, his hand in our life, which others we may not be even in a position to explain. But that does not stop us from believing in what we have experienced as well. So that's how the the Krishna, though is not revealed clearly in the Upanishad, he sits in the Upanishads right through. And ultimately, like Ishopanishad, the commentary is used by impersonalists to tell us that the Krishna, the absolute truth is impersonal. Prabhupada used the same Ishopanishad to establish that the absolute truth is Krishna. So you can go through Shri Ishopanishad, which also has beautiful, or we may also choose to take up that study once we conclude on Bhagavad Gita sometime. But it's a beautiful Upanishad, and you can conclude that it is Krishna who's been described in the Ishopanishad.
Yes,
Though he
Prabhuji,
points to
I got that feeling, and I think your first sentence that reveals that Ishvara is Krishna, makes it very, very clear. It was always there in my head, but I used to wonder why that name was not coming, though he's literally sitting through it. Why isn't that name coming? Ishvara Krishna, Ishvara Krishna. So that was the dilemma that was going in my head. You just cleared it. Thank you so much for that. And
Yeah,
yes, I
thanks.
did do the Ishopanishad, and it was a beautiful learning from there. And yes, thank you for clearing this doubt. Thank you so
Thank you so much, Mataji. So one more question is there. Can you please quote some examples under the categories of Janati, Ajanati, like Duryodhana under Avajanati, Prabhupada ji under purity, so the concept become clear and easy to remember. Yeah. So Janati, yes, Janati are pure devotees of Lord, those who know Krishna in Tattva, in truth. So all the devotees, Srila Prabhupada is a Janati, is an example of Janati, he's an example of Mahatma. Ajanati are the Westerners. When Prabhupada went to West US for preaching, people there didn't know about Krishna, anything. Or even in our country, those people who are in distress condition of life, some of them may not have any conception of God. So for their only consciousness or only immediate need is to get next meal from somewhere. So those also could be in Ajanati. The animal species are Ajanati. No, they have no conception of God. They don't have developed consciousness which could absorb the conception or thoughts of God. And Avajanati are the ones who deride God, or who um, is like a Duryodhana. That's how we understood this. So any other question? I think we've gone through the chat box. No other questions in the chat box.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandvat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Vikas Prabhu, Dandat Pranam.
And what a relisable session you have given today. Actually, I missed up the recap part because I was busy in that shloka competition, and some requirement was there, so stayed back there. But it was wonderful to listen. Means I started from the beginning. Means the recap part was left, and I could connect it to that. I was listening to His Grace Amoglila Prabhu, where he says that means whatever devotional service we do, if we are not in association of the devotees, and if we are not seeking the mercy of Krishna, with whatever intent, with whatever focus we do, that constitute almost 5 to 10%. And if the mercy starts flowing in, that is 95%, and you clear all your tests, and that literally happens in everyone's life, means literally. And from that, I just something reminded me of His Grace Narottam Priya Prabhuji's lecture, that Anya Abhilashita Sunyam. So that comes actually through listenings only. Means whenever we hear the lectures of yours, or be it Narottam Priya Prabhuji, so that gives the deeper meaning of that, which we cannot understand by merely reading that. So it used to be always relishable. Means it always gives a different direction altogether. Means it makes us realizes that this is the true meaning of it, and it should be perceived in this way only. So thank you very much for your wonderful efforts, your painstaking, means despite your busy schedule. So thank you for giving us the nectar of such a wonderful book, which is Bhagavad Gita. So
Yeah,
please keep giving that. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna. I
very
hope
much.
to do that in future as well. Yes, it comes through revelation. So Krishna reveals in the heart of devotees, and then that's why Krishna is property of devotees. So only devotee can give Krishna to us. We cannot get it by our own effort. So in the rasa dance also, when gopis were searching Krishna, Krishna was not found. But when they sang Greet, the Gopi Geet, when they chanted glorified Krishna, Krishna revealed himself to her. So we cannot find Krishna by our own effort. That's given. Even gopis couldn't find it, who we considered as the highest, topmost devotees. So what to speak of us? We cannot find Krishna by our own. So only devotee can deliver us Krishna, and they are all eager. So we just need to have a desire that we should accept Krishna in our life, and we should make Krishna a goal of our life. And then our life, we will just start. It's just like going and sitting in the current, and then current will take you in that direction. And that's what a devotee association do. We just have to be with them, and then they will take us with us. And but as I said in the previous example, that our last session, we said we don't have to put brakes. we want to cooperate with the devotees and do whatever they tell us, and then that go with the flow. That's how we'll all be successful in our lives. So thank you everyone for joining today, and Krishna willing, we'll continue next Sunday with subsequent verses, more verses, and more. Hare Krishna, Keshav. Good to see you. Thank you so much, everyone. So we will conclude today's session, and